Jimmy, the SGR, from what you told us yourself here, you knew about it because you were among the people who conceptualized it.
Yes.
The World Bank opposed it.
Yes.
Why was it opposed? What had you budgeted for it? And what were we later to hear when Uhuru and Ruto came into power was the budget of what was spent on the SGR? I'm going to answer that question with the answer Jimmy will give you.
Yes.
It was very simply this. We conceptualized it as a private project, as a PPP. In other words, no taxpayers' money. All we were doing was extending what was called the meter gauge to standard gauge, keeping it on the ground from Mombasa all the way to Malaba as a private entity. Kenya Railways,
same railway.
Same railway.
Yes.
Kenya Railways were going to be shareholders because they owned the land.
The land.
All right? But we were going to build the rail, right?
Yes.
And we were going to buy wagons. Okay? In partnership with people in the private sector that wanted to run the rolling stock. That project was only 55 billion shillings from Mombasa to Malaba.
55
billion.
From Mombasa to Malaba.
Not Malaba, Naivasha, Malaba.
The border of Uganda, the proper Uganda today as we talk about.
Yeah.
Okay? All right? So it was not fancy. It was not going up in the air, all these civil works. I don't know what to do. Apana. Okay?
The old railway line.
Old railway line. Just extending it like this. And no taxpayers' money, no debt. No debt. We were taking over what was a failed concession to RVR. Right? Revamping the line and running it.
That's it.
Now, what happened is that became a project between Mombasa and Naivasha in 2 contracts, a total of 500 billion shillings. All right? From 55 to 500 billion to Naivasha. All right? And the Chinese said they were going to give us a loan of 90%, which was 450 billion shillings. And Kenya government, as Kenyans, were to pay 50 billion shillings, right, as our 10% contribution. Now, we further did now an audit on top of that of what was actually done. So did we get the money from China, 450? Yes. We got it. There was a drawdown, certificates to China Exim Bank, 450.
But that's still
give and take.
But that's still money for Kenyans to pay back, though.
Yes, of course.
But you said there's no...
No. We got the money from China. It was a loan.
Okay.
Right? And a fairly expensive loan, I must say.
It was from the bank.
It was from China Exim Bank.
It wasn't a concessional...
No, it was very expensive. Exim Bank is a quasi-government bank. But this one was exceptionally expensive. All right? Now,
why was it?
The terms were as such. I guess maybe they did not see it as prudent, and it was a lot of money.
The terms did not favor us.
It was the biggest loan we had ever taken from China. Biggest.
Okay.
All right? Now, because at the time it was estimated at almost $5 billion. Right. That's the total, $5 billion. Exchange rates were different at the time. Then we audited the amount of money we contributed, the 10%, 50 billion shillings, towards the loan, towards the construction of SGR to Naivasha. Right? Simple audit. It's called self-raising finance. Grant from the Treasury to Kenya Railways to onward payment to China Road and Bridge. Simple math. All right? And this is, again, government records. It wasn't 50 billion. We paid a total from the Treasury of 644 billion.
Back to the bank?
No. Treasury was supposed to pay 50 billion to Kenya Railways.
Yes.
As a grant for onward transmission to China Road and Bridge.
Okay.
Directly.
Yes.
As our 10% contribution
towards the project.
The project.
Okay.
And it was done every drawdown. Every time they bring a certificate, we pay 10%, China Exim Bank pays 90%. All right? Every time they bring a certificate. So we just measured what did Treasury give Kenya Railways as the 10% contribution for that construction. It wasn't 50 billion. it was 644 billion.
Over time, or is just in
Over
one tranche?
time.
Over time, yes.
Over the time of the construction, all the time of the drawdown of any of the construction. So it's over time. So we paid for what was originally 55 billion as a private project. On contract is 500. In reality, we paid 1.1 trillion for the same project.
1.1 trillion.
Did that money
All right. So
actually
you
go?
are saying, yes, it went.
Okay.
Okay. And we are paying back a loan of 450 billion. All right. We contributed more
Towards the
than
project.
the construction of that project.
Meaning we did not need to have borrowed in the first
No.
place.
No.
Because if that's what we paid, we could actually have built that railway on our own.
Yes.
Twice.
Twice.
And twice.
Twice.
We'd have gone up to even maybe further than Naivasha.
And
Now-
by yes, when we say railway, this cost included the locomotives.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The rolling stock.
Oh, that's what it's called. Huh?
Yes, it's called rolling stock.
Okay.
Now, when you look at it that way, right? When you look at it that way, you ask yourself, who in their right mind is going to borrow more money from China to extend this railway? Okay? Right now, it's not viable. We are paying from our pockets to sustain it. It's economically unviable. Where are you extending it to? Don't we have other priorities? People here are looking for food. Don't we have other priorities? How many people use that railway? Will ever use it? What goods are there? That's why you have a man who was this man who came from Vietnam the other day,
Oh, yeah.
right? Who tells us you build this expensive railway to take which goods? Where?
Where?
Yeah.
What goods is this you have? You don't even have the power for those goods
Yeah.
to manufacture those goods. Okay. And I mean, these are stark realities. Right? What foolishness is this? What drives us to do that? It's the mentality of extraction, exploitation.
Yeah.
Right? And here we are, believing we are big people. I mean, I saw Ruto say the most ridiculous thing in China. The most ridiculous. He stands up in front of a delegation of Chinese businessmen and women, and he says, China and Kenya are pivotal pillars in the new architecture of the world, of the financial world that is now coming under what is called the fifth order.
Well,
China and Kenya. I mean, I've never, I don't know, maybe in his mind, he's a big man.
think he's
Okay?
really-
No, he thinks he's a big
No,
man.
you didn't understand. You didn't understand.
What is it I didn't understand?
I also don't understand.
two of you don't understand.
Because city. You see, America and China, they say, and this was at the World Economic Forum the other day, China is about 21%, 22% of GDP of the world. America is 27% GDP of the world. So those two countries are 50%
Of the
Of the world
of the,
world.
of the world GDP. Right? Africa in totality, including North Africa, is 4%.
4%, yes.
And then we've tried Kabisa.
Which is just equivalent to the size of France contribution. One country. France's contribution to GDP of the world is equivalent to the whole of Africa.
Africa.
And we have 1.4 billion people here. So where is it? Kenya, what is Kenya in that? We are a speck. And just to go to power, I bothered to research some figures on power alone. All right? Just to give you power production. China produces 2 million megawatts of power. 2 million.
Pa?
2 million, the country. 2 million megawatts of power.
Every how long?
2 million.
City's asking per what?
No, per year.
There
Per
you
year.
go.
Annually.
Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
That's what
Per
I
year.
was-
Annually.
2 million megawatts of power. All right? And they are now in renewable energy increasing new power at a rate of 300,000 megawatts of power per year.
And they run all
And they
their
are going-
industry and they have excess power.
And they, because of smog and all those things, they're now moving from that and creating renewable energy, right? At 300,000 megawatts per year is their target.
So that
So now, no. Kenya is where?
We are at 357.
No. We are 3,400 megawatts of installed power. What actually goes to for our use is only 2,200. Right? Do you see the scale?
No, there's no comparison.
Can you compare?
There's no comparison.
So where is this we are discussing?
It's a stratospheric difference.
Anything
And so
in
that
any,
brings me back to the other point that I was
so
making.
please tell me, what is it I don't understand?
What-
Right?
what you don't
Even
understand.
South Africa here, right, does 50,000 megawatts
Yeah.
of installed power.
Yet they're in the dark.
Here.
And there's load
You
shedding.
have Egypt is 60,000 installed power. Nigeria is the one who has 30 installed power, but you have
Please, let's not play a beg.
something like 50 in gensets. Okay?
Yeah, just please,
All right.
let's
Gensets,
focus,
okay?
Jimmy.
But no. But just imagine, even around us here, on this continent, okay, we are like this.
And this
right?
is what I
so
was
where is
saying.
it? Where is it we become giants?
So, Jimmy,